Now that you have learned how to search the extant literature for articles in your area using ERIC, Google Scholar, and other databases, you need to learn how to read a research article, whether it be quantitative or qualitative. Reading research articles is different than reading other sources that you've read. Maybe as an undergraduate, you learned how to read a research article. In that case, go ahead and read the article that we've selected for our next class session. However, at this time, if you have not learned how to read a science article or research publication, I encourage you to do the following steps to help you with that process. The purpose of this activity is pretty apparent. You're going to learn how to read a scientific article, be it quantitative or qualitative. When you read many of the articles for your research topic, you're going to encounter much academic language pertinent to your topic, but also academic language that's pertinent to all research articles, such as methods, research methods, participants, discussion, conclusion, introduction, etc. For this activity, there is a pre-reading activity handout to aid you in that process. Also, there'll be posted a reading guide pyramid that you may wish to use to aid you in reading the article. The pre-reading activity is something I expect you to do. Using the graphic organizer, the reading guide pyramid diagram is optional. At the end of this activity, and for Module 3 as your ticket into class, you're going to write a one-page summary of that article. As you read the article and think about the article summary that you write, consider the claims, warrants, and evidence that you write about, as you've been reading about claims, warrants, and evidence in the 6 steps to the literature review. The pre-reading activity that you will find on the next slide in the module will ask you to skim and identify sections of an article. I strongly encourage you to skim through the article first to identify the main parts of an article. This will include the journal information, such as the title of the journal, the pages in which the article is on, etc. Also, the title of the article that you're actually reading. It will also list the authors of the article and where they are currently, or at that time of the publication, working in terms of universities or some nonprofit or for-profit organization. And it will generally also include contact information, which you may find useful if you wish to contact the author. It will also have an introduction that may or may not be listed as an introduction. Also, you'll want to be able to find the research questions for that article, which will not generally be headed as such, but the other sections will. There'll generally be a section that says methods, results, conclusion, discussion, and even references. So make sure that you use the pre-reading guide on the next slide to guide you in reading the article. Another section in the article, or almost all articles, is something called an abstract. Let's add that to our list here, and you will find it generally right before the introduction. A well-written abstract will include all the information that's pertinent to the article. In fact, it's a one-paragraph summary of the article that most researchers will include in their articles because most journals require it. When you read an abstract, and I encourage you to read all abstracts, because it will give you information whether or not this article is an article you should read for your literature review. It makes it easy to search through and for articles that are most relevant. If you recall from your ERIC and Google Scholar searches earlier in this module, they often included the abstracts right there on the web page, so you didn't even have to open the real document. After you complete the pre-reading activity, you should go ahead and actually read the article. I understand that parts of the article are going to be difficult to read. A, because you might not have any background knowledge on the topic, and B, there might be statistics that you're not familiar with. At this time, do your best to read the article. We're going to learn more about statistical methods and research methods in later modules in this course. At this time, you should try to read through them or skim through them as best you can to get a gist or a basic understanding of what the article is about. If you don't understand the statistics, you can always continue to read the conclusions and discussion, which should put the statistics or the number aspects into words and interpret those findings. Finally, after you read the article, and don't spend too much time on trying to struggle through an article at this point, you should write a summary. Now, I included this graphic here about writing a summary. It says, I have made this letter longer because I have not had the time to make it shorter. And this quote is attributed to Blaise Pascal. There's also a quote attributed to Mark Twain about, I wrote a long story because I didn't have time to write a short story. This is true in research as well. It's important to learn to write concisely in scientific writing and for your literature review and other academic things that you write. We don't want you to write long-winded sentences. We want you to write short, concise sentences. And this is part of professional and academic writing. So as you write your summary, you're going to be confined to writing a summary that's only 1 page in length. So consider the article that we selected in class, be it however long it is, 10, 12, 20 pages. You need to condense all that information into 1 page. And this is a skill that you're going to employ in your literature review as well. A good summary will include an APA citation for the article in correct APA format. Your summary should only be 1 page in length, and that will including the citation that I'll check when you come to class. And you're going to write 5 total summaries throughout the semester. The content of your summary should include about 1 sentence on the background and rationale of why these researchers chose to do the study and write this paper. It should include maybe 1 sentence about what the research question was or research questions in your own words. Paraphrase them. You should also be able to paraphrase the methods that are used, be it an experiment, a quasi-experiment, a survey design, a case study, observational methods. It's okay if you don't quite understand the methods yet. Again, we're going to learn more about the research methods later in the semester. In fact, those are the lessons that you will be teaching. In the meantime, go ahead and use your internet skills to search for a brief overview of that method if you're unfamiliar with it. You should also write a 1-sentence summary of the participants who were in the study. Were they students? Were they adults? What age were they? Maybe why they were selected for this particular study. You should also write a 1-sentence summary of what the results are or what the analysis that were used for the study. And then finally, your summary should include what is the interpretation of these results. What do the authors say about these findings? At this time, you are just summarizing what the article is about. You are not critiquing it or making your own inferences about the article. This is just a summary. You will critique literature and articles later in the semester. In fact, we'll be learning that in the next few modules. However, at this time, if you want to, you can raise a question if it's not clear to you as a part of your summary, but make sure that it fits within that 1-page limit. And you will find that these article summaries will be useful to you when you write your literature review for this course and for your actual project or thesis that you do later in your master's study. Finally, one more thing to think about is about the summary. How could you summarize the entire article into 1 sentence? This is an important skill as well. When you write a literature review, most, if not all, the articles that you summarize will be summarized in 1 sentence. Consider the article that you just read or will read for your first summary. The introduction is in fact a literature review that's only 1 or 2 pages long. In fact, they cite many articles that have done previous research on the topic or related topics, and they're able to summarize that whole finding or that research into 1 sentence. This is a skill that you need to develop as well. So again, just think about it. You do not actually need to submit a 1-sentence summary of the article, but you should think about how you would write such a summary. At this time, you should go ahead and complete the reading a research article activities, including the pre-reading, the graphic organizer if you wish to, and start to write your summary.